Welcome, welcome, welcome. You're listening to the Ask Brien radio show on KHTS 1220 and 98.1 FM. Well, I've been out of the studio for a while, but my voice has not. Whoa, what was that?
It was my bad. My
bad. All right. So every week we have a show. It's called the Ask Brien radio show, AskBrien. And each week we try to teach something about business, or sometimes we'll have a guest that has started a business, created a business, and we're trying to follow his or her success story. So that's the goal, to try to learn something about business. And we've been doing that for over 7 years. So obviously there's something going on correctly. But everybody asks us, why is the show called Ask Brien? And why is Brien spelled with an E, Brien? And for that, my co-host, Tracy. Tracy, you there?
Yes, I am here. I am the expert, the E expert in residence. That's what I am.
But E expert is one of the letters.
Exactly. I know that. That's because I'm the expert. I do know that. But I am no more of an expert than our engineer, who we love and cherish and who we couldn't do the show without. So let's kick off our E's.
You're always too kind. Thank you, Tracy.
I am kind, but I am factual also.
and I keep telling her that she's too kind and she's going to create an ego.
To stop doing that? Yeah. One ego per studio, and I think you own that, Peter.
I think I own the whole radio station ego price.
Yeah, I could not have said it better myself. See, we have another E expert in residence, and I think that's, and of course, every now and then, Jen, we like to throw in the estrogen word, but that's not really technically on our list.
Balance that out, yes.
Don't worry, we have testosterone enough to take on both. Go ahead.
Yeah.
All right.
I also control the microphone, so I was instructed that if you get too obnoxious, I can just pot you down.
Well, that'd be every other
word.
You
weren't supposed to tell him that I instructed you to do that.
Oh, okay.
Between us girls.
No, I'll just pretend like I hit the wrong button. No big deal.
All right. Well, and then, actually, we couldn't do the show without the engineer, but we absolutely could not do the show either without our experts that are and more experts than just in the word E. So we have phenomenal guests on the show, another great one today that we can't wait to introduce you to. But if you're thinking like, okay, well, what is an expert exactly? How do you define that? Well, we define it based on that pretty standard formula of that you must have acquired or invested in, spent about 10,000 hours in your business industry or category. And if you do the math on that, I like the easy math, which is approximately 40 hours a week, 52 weeks a year, 50-ish weeks a year. That would take you approximately 5 years. But we always say every episode that there's no startup entrepreneur that probably ever worked 40 hours a week for 50 weeks a year. That is probably more like that in the first month of a startup, right? So we anticipate it's really closer to a 3-year curve based on that math. But we're going to hear today from with a great story, and we'll find out exactly how many hours we think he has invested in his business. And for that, we are very, I don't know what, Peter, enthusiastic about our show coming up today.
Excited!
Now that's when you want to turn the mic down.
I tried. I was too slow, and I really do not want to push the applause and whistle button, but I did it against better judgment. I'm trying not to encourage him, but here we are.
Yeah, and speaking of expert, he just ran out of the studio, never to come back, so he might just be us doing the show today. But we have empathy for his eardrums being busted.
What is that?
Exactly. If you don't know, I'm not going to explain it to you, but everybody else does, and so we're all good. Oh, my goodness. And we can't forget really one of our most important needs, which is education. And that's what our mission and values at the Ask Brien radio show is, to provide really good, solid education for entrepreneurs to really help shortcut your learning curve. Just please learn from us. We've made all the mistakes already. Just learn from our mistakes so that you don't have to make the same ones. And that's something that we really value as our educational component. So, Peter, what am I missing? Which E's am I missing? You're back in the studio. I want to make sure you get a good refresher course on it.
You may have mentioned it, but you really didn't specify, and that's called an entrepreneur. And that's where we cater towards the entrepreneurs with an E.
Yes. And those are the backbone of our country, and nobody needs to forget that, right? Right. Okay, so moving on.
The business of America is business. All right. So that's not an E there. Now, I know that somebody that I know who's on the call loves Olivia Newton-John. When she passed, she was very upset. And I know something about grease lightning, but I don't know what it is. Grease lightning is what?
Well, it's not just grease lightning it is our team here at the Ask Brien radio show. We are electrifying, and don't let anyone tell you any differently.
All right.
Well, I'm going to turn it over to you to introduce our fantastic expert. And with that, I will retire the E's until next week.
Woohoo! All right. Marcin, are you there?
I am here. I'm just a little bit shocked here. How do I even compare to this enthusiasm and amazing energy? And when you refer to expert, I think after spending 3+ years with 10,000s of hours of learning and doing the business, nowhere near the word expert, and still think just trying to figure it out day by day.
Well, that's great. So people don't know you too much, Marcin, and they want to know a little bit about your background. So we're not going to spend a lot of time, but just give a little bit of a background, a synopsis of your background before you started this latest company, and then we'll get right into the company.
Yeah, absolutely. Born in Poland, grew up in Chicago by a very hardworking single mom with very humble beginnings. Throughout my life was in finance and made the leap of faith to move to Southern California in Santa Monica over a decade ago, where I've been in the early stage software startups.
So when you say early stage startups, what are you doing for the software company? You're a coder, or you're in marketing, or what was your functionality at these companies?
Yeah, great question. Have always been more on the sales and strategy side.
Okay. And now you did that for a number of years, and then you were living in Santa Monica when you came up with this new concept?
No, so actually in Orange County.
So you were living and working in Orange County, and I think my understanding is you met a friend of yours, and you came up with this concept. So why don't you go over that little bit of the story so people understand how it all came about and what you're doing?
Yeah, absolutely. So my now best friend, business partner, and one that is very dear to our heart, and our big family vacation together, we met at a local charity event and became best friends just on upbringing, value, characters, and our life and how we look at the outlook in the family. And, the fun little thing happened with COVID is we've always enjoyed craft cocktails, going to speakeasies, spending a lot of quality time together. When COVID happened, we always like to joke that we became closet alcoholics, and really had to learn how to make cocktails and realize it's very difficult from the ingredients, from the time, and then even after all that commitment, still making crappy drinks. So we then looked at the market for the ready-to-drink category and started with the cans, and have tried 20, 30 different RTDs and never really up to our part of standards of quality and ingredients and taste. So we went up in the bottled space to more premium. And even after trying many throughout the entire nation, we weren't satisfied. So not coming from this space, and it was 50% naivety, 50% bravado, and 50% drunk, we looked at each other and said, we can do better. And that was the journey of Mission Craft Cocktails, which we always like to say we are a purpose-driven brand where we donate 5% of our sales to the local food banks, and we just happen to make amazing cocktails that are award-winning and really good.
So first of all, let's go back. So I want everyone to understand. The name of your company is what? Mission's Cocktail?
Mission Craft Cocktails.
Okay. And Mission Craft Cocktail basically has what type of varieties do you have? 5, 10? How many varieties do you have?
Yeah, we started with 5 SKUs, and now we have a 6th one that we just launched last week, so hot off production. All of our drinks are real ingredients, natural, all locally sourced within 100 miles of where we bottle in Ventura, California, except the spirits, of course, coming from the authentic geography. And we have ready-to-pour cocktails in glass bottles that are 25 to 40% ABV. So we have the margarita, cosmopolitan, Mai Tai, Manhattan, Old Fashioned, and we just launched with a spicy pineapple jalapeno margarita, which is absolutely fantastic. So even though our drinks are classic cocktails, we have a California twist to each one. So our cosmopolitan, we infuse it with cucumbers in our vodka. We have real cranberry juice. We make our own orange liqueur in-house. We have a hint of peppercorn and rosemary to really give that little bit of a touch of Mission Craft cocktails.
So not everybody knows what ABV is. So why don't you explain what that is to people?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Alcohol percentage.
Okay. And then
So real drink as if you were to get it at a bar. So bar quality, bar strength.
now, do these drinks contain the alcohol, or do you have to add the alcohol to the cocktail?
Nope, everything is already included. So all you have to do is take out your favorite glass, pour some ice in it, and pour their drinks into your glass and just enjoy.
So then it is 100% alcohol, and obviously you have to be over 21 in almost every state to get that, correct?
That is correct.
Now, there's a lot of companies out there, including big companies. I mean, I think even Captain Morgan or whatever, and Seagram's, they're all big alcohol companies that are actually producing the alcohol, and they're having these type of cocktail drinks. What differentiates you from those companies?
Yeah, that's a great question, and it definitely is a very crowded space, especially when you come outside from the industry and then start figuring things out that is really controlled by the top companies. My best friend and business partner Amit, that unfortunately is not able to join this call. We always knew that these large conglomerates never made out to make bad drinks, right? With having so much experience, backing, and resources. But along the line came compromise, whether it's on quality, whether it's on ingredients, or just the process. So when we wanted to come to the market, we wanted to really do something that's different with all real, all natural ingredients. So we are a little bit unique versus other companies that may be using flavor houses or other specifics that we wanted to be very proud to serve to our family and friends. And that's why it took us over 2.5 years of R&D, because we are using the finest ingredients. We are making everything, in-house and getting it locally to make sure that it's as close, if not better, than if it came out of a shaker at a bar.
So another thing is, I know a lot of people, when they go in, they order a drink, it's like the bartender will say, which vodka do you want? You got Tito's, you got Skyline, you've got Stoli's, you've got Grey Goose, you've got Kettle One. I mean, so in your drink, you're specifying or you're putting in a specific brand, correct? So how does that work for people? I mean, are they feeling like, whoa, I want my drink with a Grey Goose or a Kettle One, and you're only just saying vodka. So how does that work?
Yeah, that's definitely a great question. And with us buying the spirits directly from, buying bourbon, buying rye, tequila, rum, we're not disclosing where they are coming from. And this is definitely an advantage to some companies like the Kettle One that just came out with their Espresso Martini or Cosmopolitan. However, we're sourcing direct from the finest suppliers. So when we look at where we're getting our tequila from 100% Agave Blanco, it's from distilleries that you would recognize a lot of the premium brands on shelves, as well as, our bourbon a lot of the ready-to-drink cocktails are not utilizing a 5-year age bourbon, which is something that we are really proud of because you really do get that nice taste of a real old-fashioned. So under NDAs, we're not able to disclose, where we're getting these specific spirits, but they are coming from direct of places that are making the same bourbons or tequilas that are on shelves at very premium prices and well-recognized brands. But one day, you might be able to see us branded with specific brands.
That'll be very interesting. Are there any expiration dates? Because not for the alcohol per se, but for the other part of it. If you've got a sea breeze or something, right? If you had a sea breeze, that would be a grapefruit juice. That probably doesn't have a life expectancy that's going to last forever. So how does that work on the drinks?
Yeah, absolutely great question. Because of our ABV being over 20%, we have a 2-year shelf life. And after, 2 years, because of the UV light, you might see a little bit of separation because of real and natural ingredients.
And when you say locally sourced, I mean, obviously the alcohol can't be locally sourced, right? I mean, unless there's all those companies have, the tequila and all those companies are located in Southern California, you are going across the country. So when you say locally sourced, it's for the other ingredients other than the alcohol, correct?
Correct. Yep. Everything else that goes into our bottles, whether it's a grapefruit, as cucumbers, whether it's lime, is being locally sourced within 100 miles to make sure that we're supporting, our community and backyard. And then, of course, the spirits are coming from the authentic geographies, like our tequila coming from Jalisco, Mexico. Our bourbon is coming from Texas. Our rye is coming from Tennessee. Our rum is coming from West Indies. So they all come from where they should be coming from.
Oh, that's interesting. And you started this company what year?
Yeah, so it's been over a 3-year project, and it really took us much longer than we anticipated because of the process and because of, our passion to create something that we are very proud of and our drinkers ourselves that are going to enjoy it as much as we would if we had our favorite drink. So we launched to market in April of 2023. So just less than a year.
And did you do a lot of focus groups and tastings? Because, I mean, obviously you want to come up with something. It's not just what you like, right? It's what your customer wants, right? So did you do focus groups or testing, whatever?
Yeah, very good question, but we did not. So we really designed these drinks for our own taste profiles. And after we came up with our first batch, we had, of course, neighbors and friends try it, and they had shared like, wow, these drinks are absolutely fantastic. And we didn't know if they were just being supportive and telling us their drinks are good just to be nice. So we started entering them in some of the most prestigious and competitions across the U.S., and we started winning double golds, innovation awards, to then look at ourselves like, wow, we just have the industry letting us know we have amazing cocktails compared to what's on the market with expert panel judges that are blind taste testing. So we are very proud and honored and humbled to, have won a double gold at the San Francisco Wine and Spirits competition, which is the Olympics of spirits competitions. And we're 1 out of 3 ready to drink cocktail winners throughout over 8,000 entrants, and then winning platinum and innovation awards at the SIP Awards, which is pretty local here in Orange County, that is really tailored to look at the industry different and have consumer judges, not experts that are in the alcohol space. And then we've won New York International Spirits, LA International, and then a few others. So we're very proud of making the drinks for our palate, and then having it recognized within the industry, because this was really designed out of necessity and creating drinks for ourselves. But it has been really well received.
We only have 10 seconds left, but so who's the chef that creates these great drinks?
Yeah, who's the chef? Ahmed and myself. We, of course, worked with a mixologist, but then the bigger part of it was commercializing it in 5,000-gallon vats that we've done with our distillery partner.
We're going to be right back. You're listening to KHTS 1220 and 98.1 FM, The Ask Brien Show. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're listening to the Ask Brien radio show on KHTS 1220 and 98.1 FM. Like no other station in the world. Yeah, like no other station in the world. Who does that?
Pretty incredible.
All right. So, Tracy, you had some questions you want to ask Marcin. So go ahead.
I do, because I've seen so many pre-mixed beverage companies pop up, and the marketing around them, and like it just seems to be like a very innovative, but really quickly becoming saturated space. And I wanted to understand more about how you're taking the differentiator that you have and turning that into and leveraging that for your marketing strategy to get ahead of the competition.
Yeah, and that's a fantastic question. And if you look at every single company in this category, everyone has premium quality, premium taste, and the best tasting drinks on the market. It's really hard to cut through that noise. So where we find the most success is our liquid to lips strategy and doing tastings. And once consumers are able to taste our product, it is an immediately, wow, I can't believe that came out of a bottle. So our whole strategy has always been liquid to lips. We do, based off our purpose-driven brand, we do a lot of charity events that's not even considered part of that 5% that our cause is important to us. And just getting that feedback, getting people to try the drinks and enjoy it and elevating that experience. So that has always been a thing for us to win. And in the beginning, it's been very hard to get on the shelves at any store. So we started in the independent liquor and grocery store, had some traction there. And then because of our consumer demand and the feedback and the success that we've had in our local markets, Bevmo was an early customer to bring us on board in Orange County. As you can imagine, that was a huge win for us, of being two guys that are outside of the space with no knowledge of the space of how anything works. And then being able to see that we're winning against our top competitors, where, after just a few short months of testing Orange County, we are now expanding to LA market, in San Diego. And then in the next couple months, you will be able to find Mission Craft cocktails at your favorite grocery store, and a few of the brands. So we're really, really excited, because I think once people see the feedback from consumers and the buyers and realizing this is a better for you product, consumers also really gravitate and appreciate that we figured out how to be a business that really does give back and makes an impact. So, 5% of sales, not fictitious profits, as some companies that say they provide profits. We provide 5% of all sales. So we're really, proud to measure our business success by meals donated. So just in less than a year of being in business in 2023, in 8 months, we've made enough impact that provides 26,277 meals through our 5% cash donation. And this year we're on track and looking at 100,000 meals plus. And that's really how we look at our growth of our business.
How did you make the decision to choose that particular charity?
Yeah, great question. When we first were starting, we had 1% for different subcategories of, mental health, animal welfare, hunger and relief, and other categories, 1% for each one. And then we realized we can't really make a huge impact, and we're not able really to measure. So what we provided is, how do we create a community-based give back? So communities that are supporting Mission Craft cocktails and are helping our business grow. And of course, the inflation of food, right? Like that's not a problem just for the homeless. It's a problem for a lot of people that are not homeless. And, some statistics, that partnership that we have with Community Action Partnership that provides food to 300 plus organizations and food banks, there's a lot of individuals that are coming and needing for food because of inflation, because of cost for living. So we know it's making a huge impact, and we can measure, the impact that we have based on the dollars that we donate to what it really turns into meals, and knowing that money is really helping out.
That's so fantastic. So tell us a little bit about what was one of your biggest challenges in kind of connecting the dots on leveraging your marketing language and the philanthropy efforts. What was one of your biggest challenges in getting into your first store?
The biggest challenge is for someone to even want to give us the opportunity to taste our drinks. A lot of these, especially like independent liquor and grocery stores, they get pitched hundreds of products every single day, whether it's from a distributor that just carried 10 more products or independent brands that are starting out and wanting to shop at the store level. So it really, really has been a challenge of just getting them to say, fine, I'll try it. And once they try it and know what's on their shelves, that's when they know, okay, you passed the first step of, this is a better product. I will give you that by far. However, I still need help moving it off the shelves, right? Because that's their main goal. So for us, it's really being part of the community, creating a lot of events, doing tastings at these stores, speaking to customers, and then also just sharing that experience and who we are. Because it is very difficult to drive that awareness when you're two guys outside of the space that are self-funded and are still figuring out the business day to day, when there's 9,000 other things that you're having to do to create, awareness or just the day to day.
And what do you think that, like in terms of objections that you might have experienced, what are some of the things that you were up against in terms of people challenging you for shelf space or to become part of their inventory? Can you share some of those objections you had to overcome?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's two main objections in the beginning, right? Because we didn't know anything in the space or how really the world works in the alcohol category. So the two biggest objections were that we don't have a distributor that they are accustomed to working with. It's very easy for them to work with one, and they carry multiple brands where they come on a consistent basis while we were self-distributing, going store by store. And second was really on price. So when we went to market, because of the cost associated with everything, like our price on the shelf after the grocery store or liquor owner needed to have their margins, we were $19.99 on shelves, which, we believe that because of the quality and the product that it's going to be a no-brainer for a consumer, but also for the owner. But because the owner had shared, I have things that are here for $10.99 that are not selling. There's some for $19.99, but they have the big brands behind them. So for us, it was really helping them convince in the beginning of, hey, whatever we put on your shelf, we're going to work our butt off to make sure that this is going to be sold, that you're going to take a chance on us, and we're going to pull through. We're going to drive traffic. We're going to be here. We're going to work with you. If there's any promotions, whatever you want, we want to make sure that this is successful and really leaning in. And then, of course, as we went into the business a few months after and realizing that, we really have to be cost effective compared to the competitors, even if we do have an amazing product, because they don't know unless they try. So you'll find, Mission Craft cocktails on shelves anywhere from $12.99 to $14.99 at the stores to be more competitive.
Yeah, again, that whole value over price point it's difficult in a challenging economy. I'd love to revisit that after we take our break. But we are going to hear from our sponsor now, which is how we keep this show going. Jen?
Yes, and we want to say thank you to our sponsor, Legal Steps. That's Legal Steps with a Z, LEGALSTEPZ.com. And recently I was forwarded a lovely article about Legal Steps. I took a course a couple of months ago, the incorporation course. There's 3 different courses, incorporation course, an S corporation, and how to form a trademark. And so I kind of had a basic knowledge of what the course looked like. And I thought it was really interesting. It's kind of hold your hand through everything. So once I was able to read this article, which was just published recently, and Peter, if I'm allowed to say the publication, I will. If not, no big deal. You can probably look up legalsteps.com and find this. They really just kind of went to bat for legalsteps.com. The term visionary on a mission was used. And I really think that that's accurate. It's kind of taking the confusion out of starting your own business and making it very easy. It's literally, I say they hold your hand step by step. They really do. You can see on the screen what your instructor is kind of showing you. And that way you think, okay, I didn't miss anything. I'm not confusing anything because I'm doing exactly what the instructor is doing. You can work at your own pace, which is beautiful, especially for anybody who's got a kid, got a job, got a dog, got a spouse. You're busy enough as it is. So you don't have to worry about getting home or getting to that class on time and not having dinner ready. You can work at your own pace. Classes are affordable, which is another huge thing. Obviously, everybody's worried about their own bottom line. You're trying to develop and incorporate and move forward with your own business. You don't have to worry about spending all of this money. So you'll be able to take these courses for less than $150. And once again, if you find that you're stuck, they're there to help you. We've got experts that have over 30 years of knowledge and expertise. So you're in good hands. You're not just finding somebody randomly online. You can be in a space where you know that you're with trustworthy people. And so, look up this article. Look up legalsteps.com, legalstepz.com, and you'll see, again, visionary on a mission, changing how small businesses are able to access and also understand really what they're looking for in starting their own business. Go to legalsteps.com, legalstepz.com.
Well, thank you.
All right.
I was all right. So I thought there was an applause coming. All right. So
is that applause worthy? Okay. All right. Yes.
It's that ego. He likes the praise.
He does. But you know what? Honestly, and I want to say this article's name so badly, but I don't know if I'm allowed to. It was very impressive. It was very thorough and just very complimentary of Legal Steps as a whole. So it's great. Congrats.
Thanks. So you had some more questions, Tracy? For Martha?
Well, I wanted to continue the conversation around, the challenges of marketing a high value product with a ticket price when you're dealing with a challenging economy. Is that the strategy around that really just, is there anything that goes beyond just the sampling aspect that's helpful with that? Or do you capitalize on health trends? Like, what are some of the things that you navigate around the price point?
Yeah, absolutely. And before I go on to answer that, thank you so much for Legal Steps for making this possible. And of course, KHTS. So again, really grateful and appreciate being here. In regards to on the marketing side, so, Liquid to Lips has been our strategy and has worked very well. We do, over 50 tastings a month, if not more, as well as having a strategy on social to be able to tap into consumers that may not be walking through that door, that might be in a different state, as working with, hundreds of influencers as well to drive that awareness and be able to share that with their audience and spread what we're doing as a company, the real ingredients, people's true feedback on the marketing side. So on the cost side, we thought $19.99 is going to be where we needed to be and where the business is going to be until you really start speaking with consumers, getting to know them, finding the ones that are drinking your competitors and are their number one customer, as well as just trying to finding out where would that price point be, how much are they willing to pay for that extra, better quality, better ingredients, and a purpose-driven brand. Like, what does that mean when everyone is, tightening up their wallets? So we're really, really proud of where we are on the shelves. And this really just speaks to the passion and commitment we have within the company. And the reason we're able to get to those price points is because we are buying 60 to 80,000 glass bottles at any given time and making our own molds so we can get economies of scale to buy, 20 bourbon barrels that we're going to have inside our distillery, and many that are 4-year-olds are going to be aging for next year. That's going to give us a 5-year bourbon. Same thing with buying thousands of liters of tequilas. Having that commitment, passion, and going all in and being able to meet our consumer where they are when it comes to the price point. And we've seen such higher number of velocity and even feedback from consumers, right? Even the ones that were buying it at that cost to where it was today, they're really excited because they can share it, they can gift it, they can enjoy it more versus having to make that drink and taking away that convenience factor and good feeling.
Yeah, I totally agree. So let's pivot for a moment, because that's my favorite thing to do in terms of And I would love to just understand, like you and your business partner together. But what does the rest of your team look like? Who's on your team right now?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's us. We have a full-time sales director. We have full-time tasters that do the tastings at the events or stores. The public agency called Publicity for Good that have been absolutely amazing for our sponsorship, ads, and influencer.
I think you might not be talking directly into the microphone.
No,
Oh, I'm sorry.
We were getting every other word there.
might be his cell just cutting out.
Marcin, are you there?
Well, we're due for a break anyway.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Can you hear me now?
No, yeah, we can, but we're going to take a break and we'll be right back.
Yeah, we'll give him a chance to.
So sorry about that.
That's all right.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Ask Brien radio show on KHTS 1220 and 98.1 FM. Tracy was asking a question, and I want her to finish that off.
Yeah, so we were talking about your team. So, and we had a little bit of technical challenges. So do you want to just give us a quick recap of your team, and then what positions are you thinking of where you may expand your team?
Yeah, absolutely. So first and foremost, we're always looking to add on team members. So if anyone loves what we're doing and loves craft cocktails, we'd love to hear from them. They can contact us on our website. Our current team is me and Amit, of course. We have a full-time sales director. We have a brand social media manager. We're working with an incredible PR agency called Publicity for Good that only works with purpose-driven brands that we're very grateful for, as well as influencer agency, having full-time tasters that helps with our events and tastings, a creative director and controller. And as we expand our grocery chains as well as a BevMo into LA and San Diego, we're always looking for sales individuals, merchandiser on the marketing side. Anyone that has a passion for doing good in cocktails, we would love to chat.
Wow.
Well, and speaking of chatting, I know our audience would love to be able to get in touch with you if they're interested in, if they're retailers, they're interested in having your product or just connecting with you more on your own professional experience. What would be the best way for our listeners to get in touch with you?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think closest to you would be BevMo in Encino, as well as BevMo in Simi Valley. If that is out of reach, you can go on our website, missioncocktails.com. We've created a special coupon code KHTS20 that'll give you 20% off of your order. And I will personally guarantee if anyone purchases and supports Mission Cocktails and you are not satisfied with the cocktails of the purchase, I will happily refund you personally. So would love your support. And it's very, very soon, in the next quarter, you will see Mission Craft Cocktails flooding the LA market. So you'll find us very soon anywhere you go.
Love that. Well, and speaking of connecting, we would love for you to connect with our podcast so you can listen to this episode and all of our back catalog at the Ask Brien podcast, wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. And of course, that's ASKBRIEN, the Ask Brien podcast. And we just would love it if you would check us out. Give us one of those fantastic 5-star reviews if you love us. And if you don't, tell us why. but we love having you on the show. And Peter, I know you have some more questions in store.
Absolutely. Thank you, Tracy. So, Marcin, a couple questions I had. You know, there's a couple of different places where you have to build demand, right? You have to have space on the shelf, which is difficult, as you acknowledge. Some places actually charge money to be on the shelf. But then after you do that, as you said, you also need to get people to have demand. If you're not advertising, spending $1 million in advertising, you got to get people. And taste testing is not a cheap process. So what was the best method that you've been able to use to get people to come in the store and buy the product?
In the beginning days, outside of tastings, it's standing in aisles and anyone that comes close to the alcohol section, introducing ourselves and pitching, how we're different, why we're different, and building that human connection. As like you said, tastings definitely not cheap. So we try to maximize it as much as we possibly can with any social media pushes if we're tasting in any locations in the upcoming weeks. But more importantly, I think what we really found is trying to target a specific community at each time. So we started in San Diego after having some success and having word of mouth, and people are bringing it or they're gifting it from online for corporate companies, or they're just sharing it with their loved ones or for themselves. That word of mouth is really so powerful because we truly believe when you try the product, you're going to become, a Mission Craft cocktail fan, and we love that for being part of the community. So word of mouth for us, of course, tastings, and really involving ourselves as much as we can in the communities that we are. So we started San Diego, went into Orange County, had success here, going into LA, and then very shortly, of course, all of California. And then more importantly, our goals will be to be national.
So we have about
not yet, in a slow pace.
Yeah, well, you gotta take baby steps, right? We have about a minute left, and so the question is, what's the biggest challenge you foresee?
I think the biggest challenge for us is making sure we scale at the appropriate speed. So we always look at supply chain, of course, cost of goods, and even consumers' behaviors that are becoming more price conscious and may go for the lower quality product versus something that they know is better, but they don't want to spend a few extra bucks. So the challenges every single day that I think is going to continue is supply chain, right? Like we're purchasing glass bottles, the spirits, the caps, the labels, and then more importantly, the logistics of it as well. So I think spirits, supply chain, pricing, and consumer behavior. I think right now we're in a fantastic spot where consumers not only want a better for you product, but they also want a product that actually does good in the world. So we're very optimistic consumers are going to stay that way and really gravitate towards Mission Craft cocktails.
Well, thank you very much. You've been listening to the Ask Brien radio show on KHTS 1220, 98.1 FM. We got a lot of information, and we're going to have you back in a year or so just to see how far you've gone. Thanks a lot.
Oh, yeah, we would love that. And it's been a true pleasure. Thank you so much for everyone. Really appreciate the opportunity to sharing a little bit more on Mission Craft cocktails, and hope your listeners get to experience it and talk soon. Have an amazing day.
Thank you. Over and out. Ask Brien radio show. KHS 1220, 98.1 FM.